Hi, my name is Dr. Ahmed Al-Baidhani. I would like to talk about writing research here. I will go quickly over these 40 plus slides as regards the writing of any kind of research. And the focus will be here on part one, which is selecting a topic. So the outline will be like part one, selecting a topic, part two, writing a research proposal, and part three, writing the results. So as I just said, we will be focusing on part one, which is selecting a topic, going over the steps that's followed by researchers before developing the research. Primary consideration for this part one, we call it primary consideration. That is number one, the selection of research approach. Number two, review of the literature. Number three, the use of the theory or theories. Number four, writing strategies. We will go over each one of these four sections. The selection of a research proposal. This is depends upon if it's quantitative or qualitative methods that we are using. So if we are using quantitative methods, that's going to be the way that we will be using trends, graphs, statistics, cause and effect, comparison of groups, frame studying using theory. If we are using qualitative methods, there's going to be different method here and different, of course, different factors. We'll have the individual stories, we'll have the perspectives, we have interviews, we'll have it involved, we'll have the complexity of situations. We'll be building a theory here, not like the quantitative method where we will be confirming a theory. So here is the story of mixed methods research, how mixed methods began, initially developed, has become defined, etc., etc. So we're not going to give much time to this, but we need to know that there are three: quantitative, qualitative, and mixed methods. These are here the basics of the quantitative research, what the researchers should be doing in this regard. You may want to look at it and have it into consideration. The basics of the qualitative research is different, as we can see here. Okay. And mixing here, mixing we need to know exactly why we are using the mixed method, because mixed method is a little bit sophisticated. And we need to know if it is necessary at all to use such a method. So here we go. These are the reasons that we use the mixed methods. Number two, section number two of this part one, which is the primary consideration, which is the selecting the topic, as we called it. So we have the reviewing of the literature. How we review the literature, define what a literature review is, identify the 5 steps, and there we go. We put a written summary of the literature, we describe past and current information, we organize them into topics, and then report the literature based on the individual studies or themes, and also document a need for the proposed study. Okay, it's different if it's quantitative or qualitative method. Literature review and quantitative study, we have here what we need to document or support, and what does this provide us with? Okay. If it's qualitative study, it's a different story, as we can notice in this slide. This is the process of conducting a literature review. We need to identify the key terms, locate the literature. That is like downloading it from Google Scholar, from the journals. It's preferable that you use academic journals that's peer-reviewed academic journals. So we are here evaluating also and selecting what kind of literature we need according to the subject that we are working on and according to the specific topic that we need to write our research about. So we organize the literature and then we write a review. Okay, we'll have that in part 2. Identifying key terms. That's how we identify them. Basically, just put them in there in the Google Scholar, put the title, put the keywords that you need to look for, and then you will have a bunch of articles that have been published in these journals. So pose the short journal research, log in catalog, scan the content, etc. Okay, here are the summaries. Journals, as we said, or books, indexes, databases. I mean, we need to emphasize here that journals should be peer-reviewed academic journals. But books here, we use them, but not so much. We need to use as little books as possible and focus on the published articles in the academic journals, peer-reviewed academic journals. Okay. These are the databases used, such as DataStream, IBSCO, BankScope, ERIC, etc. We need to evaluate and select the literature, as we said, according to the subject and the topic that we need to use. We need to evaluate the literature as well. Is the source worthy of inclusion? We have to check also the topic relevance, individual and site relevance, problem relevance, accessibility relevance. We will see this in a small spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet. We'll see it in a while about how to write what I call the literature review matrix. It has been called by researchers. Organize the literature, abstracting studies. Got to know the results, findings, the data collection, the research question or hypothesis, research problem. This doesn't need to be emphasized anymore. This is the literature review I talked about. How do we develop the literature review matrix? We need to have 10 columns, at least, showing the author's references, the research objectives, the research questions, the analysis method, data set and sample size, the variables, the theory applied, significant results, importance, and where we want to use this research paper in our writing. So these are the 10 columns that we will see in the next Excel spreadsheet that we need really to fill from the research articles that we read. There you go. Basically, that's the author's reference, research objectives, questions, etc. So for the author's reference, we need put it the same way that we write the reference list. And then the objectives or the goals, the questions of the research involved, and the analysis method used, the sample size, the population, the period covered, then the factors, which are the variables, the theory that we apply, not that we apply, that theory that has been applied actually in that specific research article that you want to use, the significant results of that article, and the importance, is it important, very important, not important at all, and then where we want to use it in our research paper or research in general. The use of theory here, this is number 3, section 3 of this part 1. So these are the chapter outline for that. The quantitative again, the qualitative, and the mixed methods. We passed by that. We can have another look at that at all. I mean, again. Variables that we use, independent, dependent, intervening, or mediating, which is the bridges. The moderating, which are the moderating variables that may make a difference, control variables, and confounding variables. Forms of theories. Okay, we need to look at these theories. For example, the agency theory, the stewardship theory, stockholders theory, etc. Forms include, and then these are the two approach. This is the first one, the deductive approach used in quantitative research, placing theory in quantitative study, theory used in qualitative research. These are all about the theory that we are going to use. And then the other approach, the inductive logic of research in a qualitative study. Section number 4 is the writing strategies. There are a number of strategies that we want to have a look at when we are writing the proposal. For example, what does the intended reader need to understand? And what does the audience know already about the topic? What is the purpose of the study, which is the goal? What is being studied? What is the setting environment where the study is occurring? What method is to be used? Writing the proposal again, this is how will data be collected, how will the results be validated. Ethical issues is also needs to be looked at in this regard. Forms of qualitative or constructivist, interpretivist research, that's what they call it. It's a little bit too long word. Now, introduction, procedures. What are the procedures that needs to be followed in this format? That's in continuation. And then this participatory research, that's the format. Introduction, and also the procedures that need to be followed in this format. Qualitative proposals, state the problem, explain the significance of the study, study the purpose of the study, or state the purpose of the study, present the research question. And we have here the qualitative proposals, interview questions, observations, quantitative proposal, review the literature is chapter 2. So we need to know those chapters 1, 2, and 3 in the research proposal. Chapter 1 will be talking about the problem statement, the research objectives, the research questions, contribution if you have contribution, and so on and so forth. And then in chapter 2, we'll be reviewing the literature to write about that literature. And in chapter 3, we will have the research methodology. Again, this is still format of the quantitative research. That's including the research design, the population, data collection, analysis procedures. We usually have this in chapter 3, which is the research methodology. Thank you very much.